morning. Good morning. It is Friday, March 22nd. It's an important day today. It's 2024, and it's important because today is the next day in our lives, and we're pretty excited about having that, aren't we? So, listen, I have really spent time thinking about and talking about the topic today, digital dissonance leading through the turbulence of technological transformation. I wanted to talk about all of these disconnects and these false narratives that have been going on in the world and that go on through social media and various ways that we curate uh, ourselves and then present ourselves to the world. But the actual title of this is leading through that. So it comes down to how do I lead while recognizing we're facing this in the workplace. So kind of let me back up and talk about technology uh, generically and how it has sat in improvements in the workplace and what that has meant to the staff and the employees within that context, and then let's drive it to a logical conclusion. So obviously technology is something that is a constant, and we're always seeing new ways to present ourselves to the public. Now, in addition, technology offers the world and business specifically uh, efficiencies and capabilities that otherwise just really have not been there before. And all of that leads to businesses making more money. And most leadership and management in business wants to make more money. Let's be honest about that. So I'm going to take you back. I come from technology as a driver in the contact center space. So some years ago, many years ago, like over 15, uh, we had an automated dialing system that they were called dialers, predictive dialers, and they allowed contact centers to make thousands and thousands of phone calls to contact 60, 70 people in any given hour compared to manually dialing, where you would get like 10 or if you were lucky, contacts in an hour. So you could essentially increase your productivity 600, 700%. So it's a logical thing in today, and obviously everyone in contact centers uses this. But at this time, there was a leading company that was a contact center. They had 800 agents. They were selling uh, diabetic Medicare relief plans, and they were the leader in the industry, a public company. And all of the 800 people calling were doing it manually. They'd pick up a phone and they'd call. They'd pick up a phone and they'd call. And they had convinced themselves this was the way to do it. And obviously they were public and successful at what they did. So we brought in automated calling. But it wasn't bots. It wasn't virtual agents. It was real people calling just at a much more rapid pace. So when we brought it in and trained the staff and went away, about 45 to 60 days later, our staff came back in onto the site to see how it was going and realized that no one was using the technology. And the question was, what's going on? Is it broken? Why haven't you let us know? And that the leadership in the company said, we cannot get our people to adopt this. And it's creating a lot of disruption. And people are frustrated with it, and they don't want anything to do with it. And I said, well, how do your agents get paid? And meaning, are they getting just a straight salary? Or are they on commission? And it's like, well, they're on commission, and the more sales they make, the more money they make. I said, okay, but do they understand that they're going to have 5, 6, 7 times the amount of contacts that they normally would have, and won't that logically translate into more sales? He said, well, logically, yes, but they absolutely feel it's not an appropriate way to communicate with our audience. I said, so let's do this. And this is where leadership comes in. Leadership has to say, how do we do this? How can we convince and overcome an objection with our workforce so that they see the benefits of it? And in this case, we essentially tricked the workforce. It was apparent we weren't looking, pretending, but here's what we did. We took 100, just 100 of the 800 seats, and we automated that 100. And we took, in a month, the worst closers and put the worst closers on the 100 and compared them to the 100 best closers within the organization. So you had the worst using automation against the best that were doing manual dialing. And at the end of this, it was pretty apparent that what we were seeing was the worst salespeople were now equaling, not exceeding, but equaling the same number of sales that the highest performers were doing manually. At that point, when we could show it and we could prove that there is a value to it, suddenly more people wanted to use the system. But as leaders will do, and they're thinking strategically, we didn't just put out the technology. What instead we did was we kept to that 100 and we changed the format. We said the best salespeople within the first 2 weeks of a month get to be on this system, and we called it the money machine, and get to be on it the last 2 weeks, which are their highest performance part of a month. And so you get to earn the right to be on the money machine. And you can just really increase your own income and capabilities that way. And we did that for some months. And we created within the environment such a positive vibe about the technology, and I want it type of a vibe, that we took something that was creating ethical issues, was creating issues of disruption. I don't like to do things this way. I want to dial a phone and call people. And we converted them into understanding where technology can fit in their lives within a reasonable framework, and that it can create value, and everybody can benefit. Inevitably, 800 people were using this technology, and many contact centers have had to go through a transition like that. More recently, when the pandemic hit, contact centers were sitting with hundreds or even thousands of call center agents in buildings, all together in work groups. And there was a sense within most management of these contact centers that there was a sense that being together, being in the vibe, the noise, the energy of group was the key piece of what makes a contact center successful. Well, suddenly they couldn't do that. We had a pandemic. And so, although the technology has always allowed for agents to work virtually, uh, they weren't using it that way. So suddenly they really didn't have a choice, and they had to transition where everybody went home. They still wanted a job. And so the agents at home would log in from home and begin to call. So you may have moved 500 agents that were all working together, and now they were all working from home. It took some transition, obviously. It took a learning of leadership to understand that there now are different ways to manage their operation using the technology that's apparent, and in spite of some of the logical risks that happen. And you saw a major transition to where now today after post-pandemic, many of those contact centers have not gone back to their buildings, and they've just found an improvement in their approach to running their businesses and giving the flexibility to the agents to work, in a different environment and a different schedule. Well, these are common technologies, but they require leadership to plan it, to think about how, in fact, this can happen. Let me now talk about something completely different. Social, the social framework today, of Facebook, of LinkedIn, of a podcast just like this, uh, allows for the use of technology to where we can curate the information, to where I can clean up, I can layer myself in a framework that I want the public to see in a way that optimizes myself versus the natural me. I literally could be sitting here today, as my producer was telling me before this show today, and I could be automated. This could be an AI tool. I could be presenting as AI. I could be watching myself do this. I could give myself a topic and my virtual self, and I could present it in a very optimal way, to where the public generally would not even know. Well, we did a study and a poll, and we're going to come out on LinkedIn with the results to ask ourselves, ask the audience, what were the issues that this presented, and the largest group felt that the most serious issues were ethical issues. And then, second, were the unseen issues. In other words, what does this mean and where is this going? Now, you can't just say, well, I don't like it. I think it doesn't work in my framework of integrity, and I'm just not going to do it. Because just like that, those dialers and that automation in calling, this technology is here to stay. AI is here to stay. Improvements and efficiencies that are used in business are the way that the drivers of change within a society. So business often is the driver because they will adopt the technology, insist upon its use. If they're smart, they'll be better leaders at leading in methods of adoption of that technology. And then society continues to spread and begin to use it. And it's natural. That's just how it works. And so you can't just say, sorry, I'm not committing to this. I'm not going to be a part, because you won't be able to compete. So, in a sense, a curated self, in the future it will be common. And look, I get that we may say that that's a false narrative of an individual or the world, or we can choose a way to do it that offers honesty and suggests the benefits without undermining the moral values that we have. But that comes down to the individuals in choosing how they're going to be the leaders in their company, to lead technology within a framework of conscientiousness. Because today there is absolutely a division in most companies in terms of how they use technology, and where is this the digital dissonance that creates turbulence in the workplace. So think this through, recognize that change is going to happen, and these are not questions of should I or shouldn't I. These are questions of how and when and in what form can I, as a business, I, as an individual, and I, as a leader, participate in the future. I love talking to you. I'm not going to take you any longer than we need to today. I wanted to make this point to you. It is here to stay. I am here to stay. These podcasts are here to stay. And these are lessons I've learned in no particular order. So you take care. Bye-bye.